Yes, sir. I'm just gonna sign it right up here at the top, okay? Want to do that? Right along there.
Fish on Guntersville and Wacky.
In May, I would throw a Strike King Series 5 crankbait along with a Strike King Series 5 XD and a 6 XD, and I'd be fishing offshore ledges, and I'd be catching big ones because that's where they go.
That's right.
Right now they're spawning. Next month they're eating.
If you would fish anywhere on Lake Guntersville in May, what would hard to fish?
Okay.
In May,
Yes.
you know what I do? It's simple. Spinning reel, 10-pound test braid, 8 feet of 8-pound fluorocarbon, and a black trick water.
Oh, there you go.
Weightless. Split the tail.
Oh, okay.
Split the tail to give it that added action, and you'll catch a fire out of it.
Okay.
Welcome to our channel. My name is Annie. Shooting, fishing, and outdoors. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Good job.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, April 28th, and I'm out here on the boat. It's Monday night, and boy, I got a mess. I'm rigging, and we are getting ready for the Castin and Catchin tournament. It's going to be this Saturday, May the 3rd. And while I'm out here rigging, I thought I'd just go ahead and do our top baits for the month of May. And the way we're going to do it is just we're going to go over what we have on the deck and what we have ready for this tournament. So for this tournament, I think I kind of have an idea of where I want to start, what I want to fish, and kind of in my mind, I've kind of played it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of run through the baits kind of like as the day progresses, and what in my mind I think we'll probably be doing. But I have a lot of different options. You know, if the weather is doing one thing, then I may adjust and do something else. So anyway, but we're just going to kind of go through these. The first thing I have and I'm going to talk about is some topwater baits, and specifically some baits for a potential shad spawn. Kind of where I'm wanting to start is kind of like a little shallow area where, well, a couple weeks ago, I think we had a little shad spawn going on this spot. I don't think it was full blast, but I could see shad jumping, and I caught 5 bass in this area. So some of the baits we're going to start with, I'm going to go over here. All right, first bait I'm going to talk about is a buzz bait. This is kind of, you know, in that mentality of starting shallow, shad spawn. As far as topwater goes, I'm probably going to be leaning more on the buzz bait, mainly because of the floating eelgrass. I mean, I would love to throw a walking bait like one of those, or that one, that I have rigged up.
One lure to fish on Lake Guntersville in the month of May.
What's the date? Early May, late May?
Early May.
Early.
Early May, probably a topwater bait. Yeah.
Never heard that.
Yeah, Strike King $60.
There you go. But you can't always fish that clean. So I got a buzz bait tied on, got that ready. This one here I got paired with a Z-Man diesel minnows, I think is what it's called. That's smoky shad. The way that the keeper is on this particular buzz bait, it has kind of like a little wire hook, and with that Elastec, man, you don't have to glue it or anything. That sucker stays in place. But if you put a Kitech on there, it just rips it apart. So for this particular buzz bait, I lean toward the Elastec material. But buzz bait, that's going to be an option. You know, as far as topwater, I'm also going to have a frog. You know, depending where I'm at, it may not be conducive for a buzz bait, you know, if it's too much vegetation. So I'm gonna have a frog ready, and This one right here is the Spro Bronze-Eye Blade 65. This is called Killer Gill, I believe. But I really like that color. It kind of has a silvery belly. It looks kind of shady and it looks kind of bluegilly, if that's a word. And I changed out the blades. It came with black blades. I put these little nickel blades on here. I think these came with a different, like the white color frog, but I like them on that. I think it's a good combination. But gotta have a frog on the deck as well.
If you would fish on Lake Guntersville in May, what lure would you throw?
I would throw my bronze-eye frog.
Ooh,
I knew it.
Right there.
Congratulations, you are a red crest qualifier.
I am. Yes, sir. What's your name?
My name is Ethan Sheridan.
Good to meet you, Ethan.
Can you tell me if you would ever fish one lure in May on Lake Guntersville, what would it be?
In May, I'd probably like to. What I like to do is I'd probably go throw a frog in the shower. A lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what he said too.
Round brim beds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should I have your autograph?
absolutely.
If you were ever to fish one lure on Lake Guntersville
Yep.
in May, what
May.
would it be?
Oh, in May. That's a tough one. Probably like a frog.
That's like the third frog we've heard.
I'd
Okay.
say a frog would be really good.
If you had one lure to fish
In May on Lake Guntersville. Probably a dang frog, to be honest with you.
Oh. I think that's the fourth frog we've heard.
if you would ever fish on Lake Guntersville in May, one lure, which one will it be?
A boom boom frog.
Boom frog.
A frog. Okay.
I love frog fishing, and I know in May there will be a little bit of everything going on, from some fly garters to bluegill brimheads, the big bass in the grass.
Yep.
Yep.
If you would have one lure to fish in Lake Guntersville in May, what would it be?
In May, I'm gonna say some sort of topwater. You couldn't go wrong. All day long you can try throw it.
That's the
Month of May is.
I think that's the fourth or fifth person that said like a frog or topwater.
I
Okay.
don't care if it's a poplar, buzzbait, frog, whatever it is. I throw topwater.
Okay. Here's another one of my favorite frogs for this time of the year. This is the Booyah Pad Crasher. I think it's called Disco Ball. I want to say that this is the one that Jason Christie threw on Guntersville a few years ago. I think he kind of helped design this color. But you see all that glitter in there. Really looks good. Looks very shady. That's kind of my option too. But like I said, my number one is this Spro Bronze-Eye Blade 65. I really like those little flapper blades on there. And then that underbelly looks very, well, it looks like a shad, looks like a bluegill. Like it kind of can pass for both. All right, next thing I'm going to talk about is a square bill. And on this particular little shallow spot that I was telling you about, I started on it about a week ago. And this is what I threw. I threw a square bill. This is the Yozuri 3DB. Another one. Okay. All right. Hey, you can see I got those VMC bladed trebles on there. I really like those, and with it being a potential shad spawn bite, I really like to add that extra, those little blades to that. I think it helps me get a few more bites. But if I can fish it clean, I really like this square bill. I don't think everybody throws it as much, and I get it. I get why, because there's so much eelgrass that's floating around. And if I can't fish this clean, then I'm going to go to a swim jig or a chatterbait. But I'm going to try my best to fish this and fish it clean, just rip it out of the grass. I really think it gives them a different look, and it will generate some bites for you. Now, like I said, if I can't fish this clean, option 2 will be a swim jig and a chatterbait. Now this is my swim jig. I've told you guys before, this is my favorite. It's the Dirty Jigs Compact. This is kind of the shad looking color. I got a 3-inch Crush City Mayor paired up on there. That's kind of a gizzard shad color. But, you know, if we got calm conditions, probably going to throw this around. But if we get a little chop on the water, I'm going to get the chatterbait. And this is a 1/2 ounce. And yeah, that's going to be my 1-2 punch for shallow water. Just kind of depends on the conditions. If it's, like I said, if it's calm, slick water, I'm probably going to go with that. And then if we get a little chop, a little ripple on the water, I'm definitely going to opt for the chatterbait.
What's the best lure in May on Lake Guntersville?
Best lure in May on Lake Guntersville, I'm going to say a bladed jig, so a thunder cricket.
Outstanding.
Yes, sir.
If you could fish any lure in May, what would it be?
Chatterbait.
Sure. Cool.
Okay, that's the second one.
Evo.
Yep.
Evo's cheaper. Helps out your dad's pocketbook.
Yes.
Can I have your autograph?
Absolutely. You want to go
inside? Fish on Lake Guntersville in May.
Chatterbait.
Okay. All right. Also, if there is a shad spawn, I'm going to have a spinnerbait ready to go. This is a Dirty Jigs Compact Double Willow spinnerbait. I think it's called Purple Haze, and I got it paired with a Crush City Mooch Minnow electric shad. And man, that kind of purpley kind of hue to it, it looks really good. I will have this ready to go, especially for early Saturday morning, you know, if I'm on a shad spawn bite. But it's all about conditions, man. If there's too much eelgrass and I can't fish it clean, I'll go with something else. But there's really not a better shad spawn lure than this. So I will have it ready to go. Okay, now for Ethan. For starting off on this shallow spot, probably going to have a 3.8-inch Kitech on a spinning reel with a 3/0 on or flashy swimmer. He can cast this around on his own, bring it through the vegetation. And one thing I do, I try not to bury, like to expose this hook. I try to just leave it where it's, you know, it fits into that little groove there. And most of the time you can still fish it cleanly. But for him, you know, it's going to help with his hookup ratio, not having that hook point buried down in there. Because sometimes he just won't even set the hook. But if he gets a bite and keeps it tight, if that hook is not buried in there, I feel like, well, he lands more of his bites that way. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. That's probably what he's going to start with on that shallow spot. And hopefully, little man can put a few in the boat while I'm doing my thing. All right, next thing I'm going to talk about here is a drop shot. And this is specifically a weedless drop shot. This is very versatile. I have a 1/4 ounce, kind of a cylinder style weight on here. And this is that VMC Redline Finesse Nico. That is a size 1. I like that size 1 for my robo worms, for exposing them and bringing it through the grass. I got a 1/4 ounce, kind of a cylinder style weight. I really like the cylinder style more for the grass. I just feel like it comes through the grass better. But this is going to be kind of a versatile setup. With a 1/4 ounce, I feel like I can still fish it in somewhat shallower grass. I mean, not like really, really shallow, like 2 or 3 feet or anything like that. That's probably going to be a little too heavy for that shallow. But I'm talking like once we get into that, you know, 5 or deeper, 6 foot, you know, those little drops like that. Ideally, probably in that 10 to 12 foot range. But if I'm on a ledge and I see them at 20 feet, I feel like I can still fish this 1/4 ounce and be pretty effective. Now, if I'm on a deep spot and like we know they're there, I'm probably going to just change that out to a 3/8. That way I can fish it more efficiently. But anyway, Got to have a drop shot, a weedless drop shot, and I'll show you some of my favorite worms. Now, if I'm fishing like on the ledges kind of thing, like deep water, and I'm just nose hooking, I really like these Z-Man long shots. I really like this color here, Twilight. But then also, if the water's a little bit clearer and cleaner, this color here is kind of a famous, real popular color for Z-Man. It's called the Deal. It kind of has that green pumpkin with a little more of almost a pearl looking combo with it. Looks really natural. I like that one in cleaner water. But most of the time on the river channel, on the ledges, this color right here, man, it catches them. And I just nose hook that worm. And it increases your hookup ratio if you can nose hook it. But if I'm around vegetation, then I am exposing that hook. And some of my favorites here for offshore, this robo worm here, the 6-inch Morning Dawn hologram, and then just a regular Morning Dawn color. Now this one here is like a Morning Dawn red flake. I've caught quite a few on that one as well. Some other good robo worm colors. There's a Aaron's green pumpkin for cleaner water. I really like that one. And then there's another one, I think it's called Watermelon Magic, I believe. Just more of a natural greenish looking color. But, you know, fish your conditions. For the deeper ledge stuff, I like these colors here. I think the visibility is a little bit less down there, and they can see this bait down there. But I've had luck with these colors.
I say mono on it. Guys, hooked up.
That's what I was saying, buddy. That's why I wanted to.
You need the net?
Yeah, that's why I was. That's why I was saying, buddy. Nice.
Oh wow!
That's why I was saying I didn't want to spook them with that spoon because they're in one little spot.
Fish. On continuous.
Buddy, that may be a 5. It's a nice one.
Let's.
All right. Also, gonna have a freeloader ready here. This is a 1/4 ounce VMC hybrid swim bait jig head. If I truly get on, one of those offshore spots, like if I check it and they're there, then depending on how deep they are, I may change this out to a 1/2 ounce. I like the 1/2 ounce if they're like 18, 19, 20 foot deep and they're on the bottom. Like if they're on the bottom, like hugged to the bottom, I like that 1/2 ounce. I can keep that bait down and I can work it a little bit faster and get them to commit to it. The 1/4 ounce here, I feel like is going to be more if they're suspended or if they're in like, I don't know, 15 feet or less, maybe 10, 12 feet, kind of like that. Just experiment with it. That kind of seems to be working for me. So what I have done this year, I'm going to go back to a 1/2 ounce for my deep stuff, like 18, 19, 20 foot deep ledge stuff. But I've gone down from 12-pound fluorocarbon leader to a 10-pound. I got the leader on here is that 10-pound Seaguar Tatsu. And man, so far I've been really pleased with it. I haven't had any break off, and it's a little bit smaller diameter, and in theory it should keep that bait down a little bit better. But that's my jig head minnow freeloader setup. I'm gonna have that ready. I have it out on the deck just in case we need it.
If you were to fish on Lake Guntersville in May, what crushed city bait would you throw?
Ooh. I mean, it's pretty harder to beat a freeloader because the last tournament I fished in May out in Guntersville, I caught him on a freeloader.
He introduced the world to the freeloader.
That is sort of a tough deal because that's probably the biggest guarantee. But guess what? I got some new ones coming out that nobody has, so I'd be going down. But the one that's coming out is, they're bigger sizes.
Oh.
So some top secret stuff coming out. Bigger sizes.
Can I get a
I don't have it.
It's like...
Actually, yeah, it's coming out. I caught him on the 5 1/4 yesterday.
Oh, okay. Oh, he just told you.
I told you one.
So 5 1/4 inch Freeloader? Okay.
Might be some more stuff coming now.
All right, next bait is a jerk bait. Megabass Vision 110 plus one. I was catching some the other day with this, and I was bringing it over the top of grass in like 10 to 11 foot of water. I'd make a nice little long cast and work it down, and I was able to keep it still above them in about 10 feet of water. So that kind of shallower offshore stuff, or anything with a steeper bank, this is a really good option. Just working it erratically. You're not going to work it slow like you do in the winter. You're going to be a lot more erratic and faster with your twitches. And boy, don't neglect getting a jerkbait. It is a really good option for this time of the year. You just have to work it a lot faster.
I was looking for one of those high-tech swim baits, like the tail on it.
Oh yeah. I know if it's on the house. Oh, here it comes. Got it.
Me?
Yep. Don't do it. Don't do it. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That one did like that other one. Literally, like, shot up. I was like, oh, he's gonna get it.
Really?
The first one did. Yeah, that's another 3. All right, and I have to mention it. Good old crankbait. Probably my favorite way to catch them this time of the year is on a crankbait. Just winding a plug. Now, this one right here is DT10. That is Helinsky shad is what it's called. Just a good overall all-around color. You know, works in cleaner water, but also in dirtier water. But I like that color. You know, I mean, fish your conditions. I mean, a citrus shad's really good on the Tennessee River, especially on the channel whenever you get a little stain. But anyway, DT10, I have that on there. There's a little area, little offshore spot that comes up to about 10 feet. And like I was saying, I was catching some on a jerkbait on that spot. But I also think this DT10, bringing it over the top of that grass and getting a reaction bite, will be an option as well. Now, one thing I do with my crankbaits, I have them on a swivel and a clip. So if I need to change that out to a DT16, all I gotta do is take that off, you know, and put on the other one real quick, or even a DT20. Now, this setup right here, this is that 7'6". This is the older version of the Jacob Wheeler rods. It's a 7'6" medium heavy cranking. And I got 12-pound Seagar Invis-X on there. 6.2 to 1 gear ratio. And this is my DT10, DT16, DT20, even like a 5XD or a 6XD crankbait setup. Now, I got some big plugs over here too. So like an 8XD, 10XD, but let me show you my setup for those. All right. So when I'm really throwing the big plugs, you know, like an 8XD or a 10XD. Now this right here, this is that hardcore bullet crank, the 7+. Man, as far as like big plugs, I'm trying to get a big bite. That's my go-to, man. I have caught some big uns on that bait right there. And I'm talking about like it's choked, like gone. And that's a big crankbait.
It's solid. It's solid.
I got a big largemouth. Buddy, big.
I got something. Oh, it's a big old largemouth. I got another big old. I got a big old
All right, let me get
largemouth. I got a largemouth. I got a largemouth. It's another big old largemouth. He came on.
Dang, buddy, I'm so sorry.
Dang it.
Well, I got a big one here. I say 7-pounder. He's probably only 5.
Dang it.
Now, I do not throw it on 12-pound. I throw this big joker on 15. I have lost a few throwing it on 12. You go rear back to whip and cast it, and it just pops and comes off. That is a big crankbait. So I do throw it on 15-pound. I got a big reel here. This is a think it's a 6.8 to 1. Yeah. And this right here is the Shimano Curado, 300. I mean, it's a big boy. So, like, for Alabama rigs, big swim baits, big crankbaits. I'm going to have this out for the tournament. If we get our 5 and we're on a spot and we're catching them offshore and I'm trying to get a big bite, I'm probably going to throw this some. All right, this is a Lew's cranking rod. It's designed for the big crankbaits. It is a 7'10", medium heavy. But man, I really like that rod for this big bait. It handles it well. And it's just kind of a classic, Tennessee River ledge cranking setup. But that's the juice right there, is that hardcore 7+, man. I really like that bait.
If you would fish on Guntersville in May, what would you throw?
They'll be going out on those ledges, so it'll be a crankbait or swim bait. Depends on what time of day. They're all the way out there. But they'll be going out on the ledges today.
Kevin Bay Day.
Yes, sir.
As long as I'm going to qualify.
I'm just gonna sign it right up here at the top, okay? Wanna do that?
If you were to fish on Guntersville in May, what lure would you throw?
In May, I would throw a Strike King Series 5 crankbait along with a Strike King Series 5 XD and a 6 XD, and I'd be fishing offshore ledges, and I'd be catching big ones because that's where they go.
That's
right.
right.
Now they're spawning. Next month they're eating. Diving crankbait.
All right.
A
Ledge
second
fishing.
deep dive crankbait.
Reel it fast.
You want?
Speed kills.
If you would ever fish one lure in May on Lake Guntersville, what would it be?
One lure, Lake Guntersville in May would be a DT-14, Rapala DT-14.
Okay.
I'd get out there and crank
Shot
those
runner?
ledges.
No, 14 foot.
It's a little bit deeper right there. I'd get out there and I'd speed crank that thing. Yeah, I'd burn it back.
All right, next I'm going to talk about our spoons, and I really like fishing these spoons offshore. It's just something about it when they're in a negative mood and you can't hardly catch them any other way. You can get a school fired up with a spoon. Now, I'll say this. You see the big boy here. I fish him conditionally. And let me kind of explain what I mean. So, we have learned, Ethan, this one right here, this is a little Bass Pro Shops game fish spoon. A little small one, not very big. I think it's 1/4 ounce. I'll have to look back and see. But I have paired that with a VMC bladed treble. And this was our little setup just for taking Ethan offshore and catching white bass. Well, what we have discovered is that whenever you're catching these white bass with this, they're getting all fired up and they're darting around and acting crazy up under you. And we see them on live scope. Well, that fires up the bass too. It fires up everything. It starts a feeding frenzy. So, man, just for getting numbers and getting bit, these smaller spoons, man, don't neglect like fishing those. Everybody wants to fish the big stuff. But man, if you're just trying to get bites, everybody's like, oh, I need to go drag a worm offshore or a drop shot. Just downsize your spoon, man. You'd be surprised. As far as catching numbers, the key is getting the school fired up. And sometimes you can get them fired up with this, and then you can go back and wind a crankbait through there, or even drag a worm. It's just something about it. It triggers them and gets the school fired up. So that's Ethan's little spoon. He's probably going to be fishing that some if we can get on a good little offshore spot. This is my favorite. It's a little bit bigger, but it's still small enough that it can get those white bass, if we're on an area that has them, fired up. Now, the big boy, I fish it conditionally, and let me explain. If I'm in an area that has white bass, and if white bass is there, they're there eating shad. Well, if shad's there, there's going to be largemouth there as well. This big spoon, it does catch big ones, but I have seen it on live scope spook a lot of fish. And I think whenever you have white bass around, it's more important to get the white bass fired up. Now, the only thing, you might have to weed through 6 or 7 white bass with a smaller spoon, but eventually you're going to catch a big one. And what I've discovered is this big joker right here, it scatters the white bass. I just see it on live scope. Now, if you're in an area and you don't see a bunch of white bass or anything, and you think you see some big ones down there below you, yeah, toss that thing out there and do your thing, and you're probably going to get bit, or either you're going to catch a huge catfish. But it has its place. Don't get me wrong. If you know, we got 5 and I'm needing one more big one and I'm in an area, yeah, I mean, that's what it's about, getting that big bite. But I can also tell you that you're gambling if you don't have your numbers yet, because it may end up spooking more fish and doing more harm than good.
Oh, whoa, see him right there. Right there.
All right, let's see if I can get this
Right there.
untangled.
Yeah. Oh, it's actually a big one.
All right.
It's on the, yeah.
Okay. Oh, don't horse it now. It's a big largemouth.
Where is it?
Oh, it's a big largemouth. Oh my goodness, Ethan, it's a giant. Oh.
Can we weigh that fish?
Oh my goodness.
That's like a 6
Look at that. Hey, we told you. We already told you.
It catches everything.
All right, well, I talked about a lot of my offshore baits just right there. One more thing I want to talk about that we're going to have close, we're going to have out on the deck. And like I said, it's going to depend how the day goes, because I'm going to be checking some offshore spots, and, you know, hopefully we can land on some and, you know, make hay in a short period of time. But hey, don't forget about the shallow stuff. So I want to go over some of my punching and flipping setups that I have here. All right, I think everyone saw what Kyle Welcher did in that most, well, it wasn't the most recent Bassmaster tournament. They just finished up at Hartwell. But the one before that, and I cannot even pronounce that river they were at. But anyway, on the Bronco bug. So if I have a lay down, now there's 2 things. Now I'm gonna try this. I haven't fished a Bronco bug much. Typically, my throw into a lay down kind of setup has been this big Zoom UV speed worm, the Magnum, the big one here. I like a green pumpkin blue. I like red bug, and then I like that watermelon candy. Now, I'm gonna try this as well. This is that Bronco bug. I got a 3/8 ounce weight on here. For my lighter weights, I'm gonna stick with an EWG style hook. All right, I got 20-pound fluorocarbon, 7'3" heavy, and this is what, like, if I'm, you know, if I have a lay down and I just happen to be going by it, I'm gonna toss this in there and just see if I can get bit. Man, it seems like, you know, pre-spawn, as those females move up, they like those lay downs, but then also, too, post-spawn, they like to kind of hang out around those lay downs. So, anyway, I'm going to have this available and ready to check a lay down or 2 if given the opportunity. Okay, last but not least is my flipping and punching setup. Now this one here is kind of my lighter flipping. This is a 7'6" heavy action, and I got a 3/4 ounce, I don't know if y'all can see that, 3/4 ounce weight on there. 4/0 straight shank. This is that VMC red line. I like that hook. And 20-pound fluorocarbon. So this is like lighter flipping, lighter vegetation. If I think I'm gonna need fluorocarbon, like if I'm worried about them seeing the braid and I'm trying to be a little bit sneakier, but I'm still trying to get a reaction bite with this heavier weight, this is my setup. If I'm flipping those holes in the milfoil, this is a good option for that. Or if it's just lighter vegetation, if you can fish this 3/4 ounce cleaner, this is what I like to use. And oh boy, last but not least, the big boy, 1.5 ounce, 50-pound braid, 7'6". This is actually a heavy. So one thing that I'm doing now, this heavy action rod, 7'6" heavy, man, it actually has a pretty like softer tip. And for me, I'm really jumpy when I'm punching, and I like that tip giving a little bit. So I went from the extra heavy to this heavy, and I feel like I'm landing more of them. So anyway, I'm gonna have a punch rig set up. It's kind of one of those things that I'm gonna have out just because, like, if you come across a big mat of eelgrass in the back of a pocket, you probably should punch it. Like, you'd be surprised. They may be a few in there. So this is just kind of one of those opportunistic kind of deals here. I'm gonna have it out. I'm gonna have a Crush City cleanup crawl on there. Like I said, that's that 4-aught VMC Redline straight shank hook. And yeah, like, I know everybody thinks September and October for punching, but man, right now is actually a really good time to be doing it as well. And I feel like not everybody does it. But yeah, it's still productive. Everybody wants to get on the first offshore fish, and I get that. I'm right there with you. I want to do it too, because it's a lot of fun. But man, don't forget about the shallow bass. You know, a lot of these big females too, they're gonna stay shallow and eat bluegill and kind of rest up a little bit. Even if they are ones that go offshore, they don't go out there immediately. You know, a lot of times it's the end of May before a greater majority of those fish get offshore. And we know there's a lot of bass that stay shallow all summer and just eat bluegill. So anyway, if all else fails, man, and you're like, hey, what else should I do? Man, go find you a little mat or something to punch. I guarantee you probably catch a few. Oh, it's big. We're about to find out.
Oh, it is.
That's a good one to end on. I don't even know what I have yet. I just know, oh, it looks like a pretty good one. Oh yeah, it's a nice one. That's just too fun. And one more thing, a Wacky rig. Can't believe I forgot the Wacky rig, but you gotta have a Wacky rig in May to cast around shallow. Those places where the bass have been bedding, the bluegill are gonna move right in the same places and bed there as well. So a lot of those bass that have been up there spawning are just gonna stay there and eat bluegill. So Wacky rig, casting up shallow. One thing too with that Wacky rig, I have learned, you know, not just skipping it under docks, but you can just skip it around a bank and you can get a reaction bite from it. That happened the other day in the pond. I was just kind of skipping it around the bank, and I skipped it into a shady spot, and literally a nice bass waked and ate it like barely as it got stopped. So try skipping it around shallow as well. That's a good option. What you got? Oh, what's up, Higgin? It's a nice one, buddy. On a Cinco. Yeah, let's see if we can get him over here.
Oh, he's bad.
Yes.
You swallowed it. You lost your Cinco, too.
That's all right. That's a nice one.
That's a 3-pounder at least.
Yeah, I lost my Cinco, but yeah, that's something to hold him up.
Ooh, that's a
nice one.
big one for the pond.
Yeah, it is. Are you saying just one? Just one lure?
One lure.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna have to throw a Cinco.
Okay.
You like that?
I got. If you were ever to fish one lure on Lake Guntersville in May, what would it be?
Oh, in May. That's a tough one. It'd be good too. It's a wacky rig.
Yep.
Tell you why.
Okay.
Because in May, the bluegill are spawning, and you can go run around and look and see the bluegill beds and throw a wacky up there, and those bass are hanging out with the bluegill.
That's what Dudley did a few years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
can catch them like that. Good.
And Dudley's I think he's doing it.
He's doing that right now, but he's catching spawners now.
Yeah.
But same concept.
If you would ever fish in May on Lake Guntersville, what lure would you throw?
In May on Lake Guntersville,
I guess he's trying to say the one lure you would
I
throw.
would say a Cinco.
That's
Cinco.
the 10 times 50.
Yeah.
That's right.
Watermelon red Cinco.
Watermelon. If you would fish any lure in May on Lake Guntersville, what would it be?
Probably just one lure. Probably for me it would be a wacky one.
Wow, 7
We better get us some wacky worms, buddy.
Yeah.
That's what everybody's telling us.
You say wacky worm too?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're only gonna give me one.
Yeah.
Did you ever fish on Lake Guntersville? If you would have fished on Lake Guntersville in May, what would you do?
If you only had one. So what he's trying to say. It's been a popular choice today for sure. All right, I got to talk about the wacky rig for a minute. It's just too good of a bait to not talk about for the month of May. So I did a little tackle warehouse order. I got in some extra baits, Crush City cleanup crawls, and I got a few more of the Bronco bugs as well. And I got a few more Morning Dawn robo worms. I mean, just can't go wrong with that. So anyway, I got a few more, just a few extra little odd and end things, but I got a few more wacky rig things here, and I was going to show you my two favorite. This green pumpkin magic, and then just a baby bass. You know, up shallow in Guntersville, the water's pretty clear. Man, those two baits right there, you just can't go wrong. If it's really, really clean water, this baby bass is probably a better option. But usually up shallow, where those brim beds are, where you're going to be casting this around, it's going to be pretty clear. You can't go wrong with either one. But what I was going to talk about, they pair very well with this size 6 crossover ring. And I talked about this briefly in last month's video as far as when you use these VMC crossover rings, sometimes the actual worm, the hook can wrap around the worm. Well, if you use the hooks here with the little fluorocarbon weed guards, yeah, it helps it to stay pretty weedless, but for me, the biggest thing that this does is it keeps the hook from wrapping around the actual bait. Let me kind of show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here it is ready to go. But I rig it like this for, fishing around those bluegill beds, throwing up white spots. Also, too, like if I'm just kind of skipping it around the bank, I like to rig it in that horizontal position like that. Now, what the weed guard, the fluorocarbon weed guards do, it keeps the bait from wanting to flip over like this. And obviously, if that happens, you're going to have a hard time getting a hook into that fish. So, I mean, I forced it there, obviously, but if the weed guard, the little fluorocarbon, it helps prevent that from happening as much, I feel like. So even more so than just being like, helping it come through brush, it helps it to not fold over on itself. This hook right here, this is the VMC Wacky Nico red line, Wacky Nico size 1, not a 1/0, but a size 1. I feel like a size 1 is still small enough and finessey to get bites, but it's got a big enough bite where you can get a good hook set in there. I'm not against a 1/0, but I like this size 1. I feel like I get more bites with it. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that video of our top baits for the month of May. But also, like I said, talking about how we're going to our approach for this tournament. And look, here's the thing, man. We're just having fun. The good thing about this particular tournament, it is for a great cause. I'm a former CV ICU nurse myself, not for children, but you know, having that background, knowing this is going to a good cause. Even if we finish 200th, I know my money's going to a good cause. So I encourage you guys next year, if you can, to get out and register early and get in this tournament. And the other thing too is this tournament, the highest qualifier that's registered for the Ultimate Angler Championship is gonna get an opportunity to fish that in October for $500,000, which is crazy. So you guys that are amateurs like myself, man, this is your chance to get out and just have fun, man. I mean, we're never going to be on like the Bassmaster scene or anything like that, but it's kind of like our chance to get out there and just have fun. And hey, if we finish 150th, who cares? Like, it's fun, man, just getting out there and hopping around, and you just never know. I mean, I've had those days on the water just fun fishing, and you end up with a huge bag and you're like, man, I wish I was fishing a tournament today. You just never know. But the thing is, it's Guntersville and someone's going to catch a big bag, and it could be you. So you guys, don't forget, next year, register early for this tournament. It's for a good cause. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you on the next video.